You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
You're listening to Mission Log the Orville, an episode-by-episode discussion of the adventures of the crew of the USS Orville.
Welcome to another episode of Mission Log the Orville. This week, Midnight Blue, the one where Kelly and Portis visit the Moclan Sanctuary and bring Topa along to visit Havina because, nothing could go wrong. We'll discuss the meanings, morals, and messages to see if this episode aligns with the Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy. I'm Jessica Lynn Verdi.
And I'm Mike Richards. Mission Log the Orville is a conversation that depends on your participation. Share your thoughts, ideas, and tell us what we missed at ML_the Orville on Twitter, Mission Log Pod on Facebook. You can email us at missionlog-theorville at roddenberry.com. If you're watching this on the Roddenberry YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe, and remember, we may use your comments on an upcoming episode. But this week, we're going to use Jessica's comments because she got to go to San Diego Comic-Con and see the panel while I was out hugging the donkey.
You were hugging the donkey. God, it's euphemistic and perfect at the same time.
Oh, so much.
It's so much. Gordon would be proud. Yeah, so I actually got to go to the Comic-Con panel with John Champion. I will say this, though. Some stuff, it was a great, fun panel. The actors were having a great time. Brandon Braga was there. Tom Costantino was there. And then Seth came in via Zoom. I don't know why I wasn't moderating the panel along with you. We should have been, but...
Totally should have been.
That's neither here nor there. It's too late. It's spilt milk. But, on a serious note, someone was having an epileptic seizure next to us, one row over, and it was horrifying. Thankfully, someone in the audience was able to help that person, along with, I believe, that person's mother. It took 10 minutes for the medics to arrive.
Oh my gosh.
It was wild. Thankfully, the person was alive, and seizures happen, and I'm not saying it wasn't a big deal, but it was dystopian because the panel's happening. They have no idea what's going on, as they shouldn't. It's just an audience full of 10,000 people. Right. They wouldn't know. And then this whole scene is playing out, and John and I are like trying to get up and going, is a medic coming? Is this person being we couldn't focus. So I'm laughing because it was horrifying. But thankfully that person seemed to be okay.
Good, because those are very serious and they can do an awful lot of neurological damage. So hopefully they got to them. And
I don't know how much more damage the medics could have saved, but the woman that was able to stand up and help them definitely knew to put the person on their side, was laid out on the row of chairs. The seizure didn't last that long for all intents and purposes. It was just wild. And the medics, I'm sure, got there in the time that they could have gotten there. Who knows what was happening elsewhere on the convention floor. It's a huge convention, to be fair. That being said, we did learn more about the novella that Seth wrote, that it is not just like, let me write this, like a moment of whimsy. It's an episode that they wanted to film and became too impractical, so he didn't want to lose the story, and he wrote it. So I do think it's one of those things that we should probably read and think about it as either a supplemental or kind of, do a 30-minute deep dive about the episode. I just don't love reading, so we'll see what happens with regards to that.
I love the idea of doing that as a supplemental. It's annotated as episode 8.5.
There we go.
And the unfilmability or the impracticality that you mentioned reminds me of City on the Edge of Forever, written by Harlan Ellison, the kind of quintessential, often looked at as the best episode of Star Trek, the original series. Guardian of Forever, go back, Edith Keeler Must Die, that one, for those who are not familiar with the title.
Yes.
And that was pared down quite a bit from the Harlan Ellison original script that was submitted, and that actually caused sort of a rift between Harlan and the creators of Star Trek for,
but also,
I think, the rest of their lives.
Harlan should understand that he's writing for TV and didn't write a TV movie. Although I guess at the time that's not unheard of, but kind of like you're not pitching to Paramount for a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
Kinda. But I wasn't there. I wasn't
there. I'm sure there's two sides to that story.
You know what? It probably would still make a great movie. It's an impactful episode. You're totally right. You're right, though, that I don't remember the title.
And there is a graphic novel that is more true to the Harlan Ellison original script, if those of you care to dig into that at all.
Good to know. And yes, the major announcement that they had to offer was that by August 10th, all the episodes of the Orville season 1, 2, and 3 will be on Disney Plus, which I think is awesome. I don't know that being disappointed about not knowing whether season 4 is going to happen or not is warranted. We know we all want it, and I think even the cast wants it. I think getting all of the episodes put onto Disney Plus is a great step in that direction. Something similar happened with Prodigy when all of the stuff went on to, I want to say Nickelodeon, or like, so it went to
correct.
It was when it was released, and then it was all released on a more broader. I mean, you feel like everyone has Hulu, but Disney does bring it to a new audience altogether.
Right. I think on an international basis, where the Orville is already on Disney Plus. Domestically, I'm not sure what the numbers are. Disney Plus versus Hulu seems like, I've already got a subscription to just about everything out there, including a few I don't know about, and including, as we talked about the other night at dinner, Peacock, which is apparently a streaming service.
It is, but we digress. Yeah, but it was a great panel. Everyone was super charming and happy to be there. Peter Macon was off the chain. Everyone was just, you can just tell this cast really loves each other. And the only thing that was missing, Mike, was you.
Well, I appreciate that. I would have loved to have been there. I tried for weeks to trade out of my trip to either get a San Diego overnight, at which point I thought I just might show up in cosplay as Gordon Malloy in Twice in a Lifetime. But sadly, I could not. And then I kind of hoped for that last-minute reroute from the aviation gods to get me there. But no, I was caught up in other cities all weekend.
Next year, when we have the dates, you'll just put in that not available right away to make sure you're there.
I will definitely do that.
So wait, you got something wrong, I guess.
I did.
No, you didn't get something wrong.
I did get something wrong. I overlooked something, and that was from Unknown Graves. There was so much to talk about that I never really did do my deep dive into the episode title. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was just more or less to be taken literally as the Kalan were telling the story of the unknown graves of the Kalan biologicals. However, BC on our Discord pointed out that was a line from a poem called The Witnesses by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and it is a tragic and heartbreaking poem that I encourage you to Google. The Witnesses by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and about the last line in the poem speaks from unknown graves, and it is heartbreaking.
Cool, that sounds great. Like a little bit of light reading.
But on to happier things.
Sure.
Here's Jessica with the recap from Midnight Blue.
Midnight Blue, it would seem that it is time to tell Topa about the Jaloja and the bees, and the very thought of it is driving Bortus to drink. Without hesitation, he assigns Kelly the job of talking to her. Kelly manages to find out that, indeed, Topa has feelings for a boy on board the Orville, and while reciprocation isn't ever guaranteed, she encourages Topa to tell that boy how she feels. She indeed has fallen for a boy, none other than Gordon Malloy, who takes a painfully long time to realize that he is being hit on and lets Topa down in the worst way possible by sister zoning her. Nearly a year after Havina's sanctuary planet for female Moclans were granted protection, both the Union and Moclan representatives are sent to assure that rules have not been broken on either side, whether it's the Moclans aggressing the planet in any way, or whether Havina has resumed smuggling newborn females off Moclus. When Topa hears of this, she requests permission to join Kelly and Bortus, as it's not only her opportunity to meet female Moclans, she can finally thank her hero, Havina, who fought for Topa's right to body sovereignty. Reluctantly, Topa is allowed to join and is immediately ridiculed by the male Moclan crew sent down for inspection, exactly as Bortus feared, with the leader of the Moclan crew calling Topa a disgusting creature. Daddy Bortus is ready to fight and is called off by Kelly. Bortus and Kelly and Topa walk through the bustling town, and the scene fills Topa with joy. It is almost too much when she finally meets Havina, who is just as in awe to meet her. Havina invites Topa to her writing nook, where she is introduced to Havina's inspiration for the revolution, the one and only Dolly Parton. Topa expresses a deep drive to be part of the revolution, and this seems to be exactly what Havina wanted to hear. Kelly, Bortus, and Topa are invited to stay for dinner and enjoy the events of the 2 full moons that are sure to bring out the Luminites. As promised, colorful lights of all sorts start to dance in the moonlight, and Topa is cautiously given permission to play among them. After wooing Topa with a gifted necklace, Havina uses this opportunity to ask Topa if she's truly willing to help the revolution, and Topa attests to be willing to do whatever it takes. Havina divulges that the smuggling of Moclan females has indeed resumed, but the Underground Railroad is slow and inefficient. If Topa could transmit messages on a secret channel to their contact, many more lives could be saved. To this, Topa agrees. Soon after Havina leaves, Topa sees a rare blue luminite and is entranced. She wanders off into the jungle and away from the party. Within moments, she is snatched by one of the Moclan males and forced onto their shuttle as another Moclan walks away from the Union shuttle, presumably sabotaging it. It takes a while for Kelly and Bortus and Havina to finally realize that Topa is gone. A full search only turns up the necklace. When Bortus and Kelly return to the shuttle, they find that the shuttle has indeed been tampered with. They fly roughly off the planet and have a decision to make: go back to the Orville or follow the dissipating ion trail of the Moclan shuttle and rescue Topa. Looks like it's Team Topa. Aboard the Moclan shuttle, Topa begins asking for answers and pleading for her return, but her life is threatened if she insists on saying one more word. A frustrated Ed commands Gordon to take the Orville to the planet when they don't hear from Bortus and Kelly. With Havina in hand, the situation is explained to them, but Havina seems to be withholding information. Ed manages to get a confession from Havina, saying that she gave Topa vital information that might incentivize the Moclans to kidnap her. The Moclans are claiming to have no knowledge of the kidnapping. The necklace isn't enough to formally try the Moclans in a court of law, but Admiral Halsey says if Havina is willing to testify to giving Topa the information and that they are still smuggling female Moclans, that would be enough to demand a formal investigation. To this, Havina says a vehement no. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, I suppose, and it's clear she will not change her mind. Ed has Havina brought to the simulator to meet someone, and reluctantly Havina attends, despite knowing his intention. She wanders inside a cabin and is brought to her knees by what she sees. The goddess herself, none other than Dolly Parton. Sure, Dolly might just be a simulation, but data and input make her the real deal. After an anecdote in a song shared by Miss Dolly, it would seem Havina is coming to the realization that she needs to do the right thing in the moment. She decides to admit to smuggling Moclan females in the hopes of rescuing Topa. Topa is brought to a room with a menacing man who says that he does not want to hurt her, but that is dependent on her participation. And when it is clear that Topa won't be cooperative, the Moclan man is made to do what he didn't want to do, violently hurting Topa. After coming clean to the Union Council, the Moclans are not swayed, and instead ask for Havina to be investigated since she is clearly violating the terms of the agreement. Kelly and Bortus set the shuttle down and head to the secret Moclan base on foot. A crevasse is between Kelly and Bortus, and they decide to jump. First, Bortus, who is able to do so, but Kelly comes up short and falls about 2 stories down, injuring her shoulder. While Bortus is healing Kelly, gratitude is shared about how the other has been there for each other during such a hard time and have been able to help Topa without Clyden. They are a family. It looks like, also, that we have a new will they or won't they. Kelly and Bortus storm the Moclan base, and with no time to spare, after Topa gives up the name and frequency, she is ordered to be killed. After a sequence of badassery and eye-stabbing, Topa is rescued. The Moclans square off with Union President, admirals, and Ed Mercer in a private room, continuing their rampage against the ruling. Everyone is frustrated, but attempting to be diplomatic, and despite this potentially getting him court-martialed, Gordon basically calls them Captain Dicks, and that nothing ever never seems to be good enough for them. Topa refuses medical treatment in order to show the Union Council exactly what happened to her in captivity. At this, everyone in the room, literally and figuratively, stand against the Mocklins, and Admiral Halsey confirms as much. The Mocklins will be removed from the Union, and the Union will now recognize the island of Mocklin females as a sovereign state. As Topa is being healed, doors open to reveal Clyden. With permission, he approaches Topa and apologizes for his prejudice that clouded his ability to properly love her. But he does love her, and he's here now. At dinner, Topa, Clyden, and Bortus sip spicy soup and are dropped in on by Kelly. Clyden offers a seat to Kelly at their table, and the four eat together as a family. The end.
Kelly and Bortus do make a pretty good team.
They sure do. And you know what? I'm not the first person to recognize that. You are as far back as the season 2.
The birthday cake episode, the Gilliac prison.
That, and then when they go to the island together as well. They have done some badassery a couple times.
They do. They are both. They're both pretty stellar. This episode came out, I'd say late night, July 20th, depending on where you are in the U.S. of A. Midnight on the East Coast, 9 p.m. Pacific on the West. As soon as I saw the writers on this episode, I was like, oh, no.
Totally.
A light rom-com by Brandon Braga and Andre Bormanis, who brought us into the fold. Nothing left on Earth excepting fishes, Identity Part 1, and this season, Shadow Realms. And then we have John Cassar, although I think this one was John Cassarlane that directed this one. And he called himself the torture guy, coming from 24 and some other things. He was like, sci-fi comedy? I'm kind of more of a torture guy. If you want me to do this, I'll do it. But
which makes sense based on how horribly Topa was.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Exactly. Music in this episode, score by Joel McNeely. Oh my God, I can't say enough about this. Dolly Parton, 3 songs that I recognized, and I'm a novice. 9 to 5, playing on loop since the Sanctuary was established, I think.
Clearly, which actually is frightening.
Yeah, an instrumental of Jolene that my wife pointed out to me around the campfire.
I thought that was pretty fun. It was a really cute moment.
It super was. And then Try from her 2014 album called Blue Smoke.
This is going to sound so stupid, but I assumed you would have done this, and I didn't look it up because I'm, just the person that I am. Is Midnight Blue a Dolly song?
No, I looked for Midnight Blue lyrics, Midnight Blue song by Midnight Blue by Dolly Parton. There are 2 other Midnight Blue songs that I came across, one by Lou Gramm and another one by, drawing my blank right now, female vocalist back in the 70s. But nothing that I really saw pertaining to this. I saw the Luminites, the Midnight Sky, Midnight Blue Luminite. So I kind of gave up on looking for a song or poem or a Dolly song.
I'm not wrong also, but let's see if BC can correct us.
Somebody, yeah. In fact, I'm just going to stop doing the research because BC is just going to tell me anyway. So
I'm good with that.
That'll be a huge time saver. So, if you or anybody else knows, hit us up and let me know where that the inspiration for that title came from. Victor Garber back as Admiral Halsey. Bruce Boxleitner back as President Alcazan, Kelly Hu, Admiral Ozawa, Rena Owen, of course, as Havina, Andy Chapman back as Admiral Howland.
As a total badass.
Total. Ren T. Brown as Captain Retchick. He played Michael in 3 episodes of Grey's Anatomy. He played Kolar in Star Trek Voyager Prophecy. That was a Klingon role. And that's a season 7 episode, so look for that in Mission Log in around
Coming
3 years when John and Norm cover that. We have Imani Pullum back as Topa, Lisa Baines, who sadly we lost, Asperia Balaska, the Zelayan diplomat, Mike Henry as Lieutenant Dan. I wonder when they invented that character, if they knew how much of a fan favorite he would be. Just like riding the elevator, like, you know what we need? Some elevator music. Yeah.
Well, if they didn't, I don't think they knew he was going to be such a fan favorite because they waited so long to give us him back.
Him back.
But I love He's an attractive man.
He is. Looks better going than coming.
So good.
Jim Mahoney was back as Brosk. Mark Berry as Commander Codon. He also was on Grey's Anatomy, which I just am having fun pointing that out for your interest in the show.
It's thrilling.
And he played Richard's sponsor. Why
haven't I been on Grey's Anatomy?
I don't know. Yvonne Sennett Jones as Osiah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was fantastic. Noshir Dalal as the Inquisitor. And he tweeted out in full Mocklin one-eyed makeup. Let's see if I can do this. Monsters and stories can serve as cautionary tales, a chance to put a face on our own demons, so that they can be confronted.
Ooh.
Thank you, Seth MacFarlane, Tom Costatino, and John Cassar, for letting me be my worst self in the Orville New Horizons Midnight Blue.
I don't want to hurt either of you.
Have a glass of water. Hey, man, when you cast one guy as both good cop and bad cop, sure, that's just money saving.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I'm sure was the goal.
It's a compliment to Noshir.
As I'm going through this huge guest cast, Norm Macdonald back as Yaphet, Dolly Parton as herself, or a simulation of herself, I suppose. And I like going over this at the end so that we don't do any spoilers for the recap. Chad L. Coleman coming back as Clyden.
Wow.
A noticeable lack of screen time for some of our regulars. John Lamar was only there for the hey, there you go, Sherlock.
Yep.
Portion of the episode.
Yep.
Isaac has a single line regarding a scan he was running.
Right.
Claire's only there to heal Topa at the end and said she would like to run some tests. And Charlie Burke only appears once, questioning Captain Mercer's orders about going into the nebula to the sanctuary planet, which would violate the agreement. But
she's definitely been Captain Obvious, and
she's sort of like Lieutenant, like Ensign Exposition, I think.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And we already don't like her very much, so might as well give her something.
I mean, she's sort of growing on us. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things you get used to, I guess. But have you
ever seen the hypercut of every time people tell Worf no in The Next Generation?
Yeah.
Where he's like, let's go down and get them. No, Worf, no. And so we definitely are on our way to getting a hypercut of telling Charlie to STFU, so...
Yeah. I get it. What do you think they were using for upsada? Is that just sort of like heavy cream version of chocolate milk, or what was?
I think I saw it. I think it was one of the things that Seth tweeted during like his impromptu Q&A.
Oh.
It's a chocolatized shamrock shake. At least when he was drinking upsada.
Okay, well that's a little tastier than maybe certainly what it looks like.
Exactly. That being said, if you have to do that take over and over again, and you're Peter Macon, someone's got to keep one of the bathrooms open. Like
shamrock shake.
Although for someone who doesn't imbibe dairy all that much anymore, there's nothing like a McDonald's shake, man.
It's kind of our tradition to go there at least March 1st and get the shamrock ones.
Yeah,
with the kids. So I like it. You got a note about the Wright brothers plane behind Ed's desk.
Something else that I think one of the audience members asked at Comic-Con, where did Seth get the name the Orville? And it could be, it's hard not to like Orville Redenbacher or kind of like put your own ideas onto what the Orville means, or kind of go, well, there's not a lot of gravitas in that. He said he was reading a book. I think it was a biography of the Wright brothers.
Yeah, by David McCulloch.
There it is.
Yeah.
And the Orville was the Scrappy-Doo of the fleet for the Wright brothers.
The two brothers, Orville and Wilbur. And Wilbur was kind of like the loud, outspoken one, sort of the the camera-ready one.
See, this is why I couldn't remember what was happening during the epileptic attack. So.
Yeah, and Orville was the scrappier of the brothers, the can-do one, the one that just kind of like worked his way through the problems and that kind of thing. Even though Wilbur was more of the self-promoter.
Got it. So I think that's got to be why there's a picture. I just sprayed my mascara over everything. That's got to be why there's a picture of the Wright brothers plane right beside him. So it's very cute. I think you may have pointed that out before.
Yeah, and there's even a model of the Wright Flyer somewhere, either on his desk or behind it. I think on his desk.
Right.
For those reasons.
Yeah.
I love the conversation between Bortus and Kelly when she was like, she could maybe somebody else might be able to talk to her about it. Then you will speak to her. Thank you.
You will speak to her.
Gets up and leaves.
Here's my question, and I didn't really pick this up until the second watch because, the young Mocklin at the table asks if they're mates, and then they literally have like a millimeter of lean in when they're about to kiss when Bortus is healing her.
Yeah, which I'm surprised that's all she heard, which God love her for, being in such good shape.
Jeez. I mean...
I thought she was going to be in a body cast after that fall.
I was being generous by saying 2 stories. That looks like it was at least 30 feet, if not more. She fell, and then she hit one of the other rocks on the way down. It was pretty brutal. This whole episode really testing many of our senses. But I wonder if they were on a date.
It certainly seemed like there's one of those, relationships forming. I think they're forming the right way, where it's based on friendship and it kind of grows from there.
Because they were there just to have drinks, to hang out.
Right.
So, I don't think it's important to dwell on, he's only been attracted to males up to this point. But clearly he's attracted to Kelly.
I think so.
And but perhaps it is just that he doesn't feel so alone, which is enough to bridge, companionship for sure. So I didn't know I would ship him, but I do. So here we are. We are. Yeah,
and it was great that Kelly again is kind of taking on that role of kind of female mentor or just mentor, for Topa. And I loved the line when she said, "You've handled yourself with the poise and hardiness that some people twice your age wouldn't." And I just thought if she actually used like real math and said, "Topa, you've handled yourself with the poise and hardiness that some 6-year-olds wouldn't," it might not sound so impressive. Because I think Topa's only 3 by my count.
Like, hardly. Not even. That's incredible. Yeah, I think we really need to see another Mocklin grow up at the same rate so that we just understand. We need a conversation about their growth rate somewhere. If she was growing at this rate, her bones would hurt so much.
So much. I mean, that's, but they're Mocklin. They're a hardy species.
That's exactly right.
They grew up in, a vast wasteland, so they had to cling to their whatever.
You're not gonna give into nepotism? Like if your parents said, "Hey, you need to help your dumb brother."
Not if my family was trash, man. And we know Gordon's family is trash.
Man, we are trash.
We are trash. My whole family is trash. My brother, I would 100% help out if he was looking for something. But I think he's very happy in retirement. So
gotcha.
Yeah, and he's got a sugar mama. Taking good care of him. Yeah, she's very successful as in the health field. I'll just leave it at that because I'm sure she probably doesn't want to be outed to our millions of viewers and listeners. But no, I would, is this the first talk? I mean, we've heard of Gordon's family being trash before. Is it his first talk of, like, specifically a brother, though?
A family member? I think so. I challenge our audience to clarify that.
Yeah, so
it's very possible he mentioned a dumb brother somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm curious if, in Blood O' Patriots, if he talks about, that guy, because he talks about how close he was to that guy.
Right.
But if there was mention of, like, he's even closer to me than my brother.
And if I remember right, that guy was like, Samwise's, like, half-brother or something. Sean Astin's, like, half-brother, if I remember back.
Oh, that actor?
For that one, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And you called out nepotism on that one also. So full circle.
Whatever.
Full circle. Man, I loved it though when Topa, and I like this because, there are things that are just stereotypical. And I try not to buy into generalizations or stereotypes. But if you were to talk about like emotional intelligence and empathy and, things like that, I don't know what Topa meant, but she said to Gordon, you possess many prominent female traits, which I find appealing. Now, if it's things like, what I just mentioned, empathy and emotional intelligence and sort of those things, then fantastic. That's a compliment. If somebody said that to me, I would feel a couple of inches taller. But man, that look by Unc when everybody realized that Topa was asking Gordon out on a date was priceless. Like it was funny enough with Dan and Yaphet, and then Unc peeks around the corner.
It's so good.
I lost it.
Classic, perfect visual comedy. And just to comment on that, it was a funny moment. Like you possess many female traits, but I will say, both men and women in the binary gender sense, when they embrace masculine and feminine features, tend to be a more well-rounded, enjoyable human to be around. And so that could be a compliment to Gordon that he's in touch with both elements of himself.
I thought it was a huge compliment. I think you're exactly right. If you can, if you can embrace, the better qualities across the spectrum of human beings, of humanity, then of course
that's available to all of us, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like this, this is more of a morals, messages, and meanings, and it's also there's too much in this episode to divulge or to talk about. But that we squelch the emotions of boys, even though they are there. So it's not like, oh, men aren't like this. We just trained that out of them in society at times. So once we embrace all the things that make us human, we become better, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's sadly some things that are trained out of, traditional, girls. And we've talked about that before.
Absolutely.
Just waiting for your knight in shining armor or your prince to come and rescue you and things like that. Or,
100%.
Or not doing anybody any service.
100%.
So, yeah, definitely time to move on from that. So, Bortus is compared to a Klingon every now and then. He's kind of got that stoic, tough guy, feature.
Did I tell you I figured out, like, the name Moklis or Moklin was, like, it's a mock Klingon.
Mock Klingon.
Yeah, like a mock Klingon. I don't think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But we have said, like, Isaac's like the Borg, kinda.
Yeah.
So then you have the new Q. So there's similarities between. Yeah,
but sticking with the the Bortus Worf analogy, who's a better dad, Jessica? Bortus or Worf?
It is Bortus.
Oh, by so much.
You just can't. I think Worf's kid goes missing. Like, it doesn't even show up.
He shows up every once in a while, and Worf's like, "Oh yeah, Alexander, you're here.
God,
it's time for me to make you feel bad about yourself and ship you off.
How dare you be a son of mine?" Yeah, no, Bortus really, for as hard it is as it is, Bortus was willing to accept the responsibilities of what adult parenthood meant, for sure.
Man, and then I just, this is honestly, we've got about as far into the show as the opening credits, which
it's unbelievable.
We're about 10 minutes into the episode, and I just kind of wanted to just throw a shout out to those again. This was episode 308, New Horizons.
Yes.
And it's just a stunning opening sequence. It's just gorgeous.
Yes. It's, well, which sequence are you referring to?
The opening title sequence.
Oh, is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the sequence of the scenes. Oh. It's gorgeous, and the subtle but epic improvements on the song too, or the theme. Like I love listening to the whole thing, and then basically getting to hear them go, now it's time for the horns, and now we're going to let, they really luxuriate in, and even the closing title sequence is, it's very good. It's very enjoyable.
The other thing that I was kind of always, I don't know, the the trend in modern sci-fi to make space look really colorful and full and, not just a blank, dark wasteland of nothingness, just death and disease surrounded by, nothingness, like McCoy would put it. It is, but now we're getting pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope, which are granted colors that it's picking up, light that's outside the spectrum that humans can see, but then it's converting it to things that, light that we can see. And it is just breathtaking. And it is also kind of very similar to what's being done in modern sci-fi with, flying around in a nebula or, asteroids are always too close, right? There's no asteroid field like there are on TV.
No, that's exactly right.
Like even when we shoot stuff out like beyond the asteroid belt into the, outer solar system, we don't even consider the asteroids that are there. It's just, there's too much blank space. So it's not like you've got, Riker, driving the ship manually because he's the only one who can do it.
But I think like the only time that kind of field exists is if something has just been blown up.
Exactly right. What do you mean Alderon's here? Alderon ain't here. That's what I'm telling you, kid. This is Alderon.
This is Alderon. Wow. Amazing.
So the blue Luminites, man, they bring good fortune.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Not this blue Luminite.
I was really waiting for all of this to be a simulation. I was really, I like so much of it. Even her meeting Havina and the blue Luminite. I felt like it could have been like a little drone or something. A couple of things. One, I thought maybe Havina wasn't really Havina. Maybe I thought that was some sort of a entrapment thing. A honey badger, I think is the term. If I remember the interview, the movie The Interview correctly. But so I was kind of waiting for that because I felt like it was sort of out of character for Havina to be doing this. She cares so much about Moclan females. But we'll get to that later. So I was thinking maybe this is an imposter, and then I'm thinking, okay, maybe this blue Luminite is kind of like a wee little drone, kind of designed. That's exactly what I thought.
To get Topa to follow it around.
One of the things I thought was going to happen. Well, it could have been. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to land on the leaf, and that it was going to reveal the Moclan shuttle. Because it had also been cloaked.
Right.
That's how. I knew what. First of all, beyond all that, Borda says Topa knows better than to wander off into an unknown area. That's exactly what Topa did.
That's exactly. So A, she didn't know better. B, buddy system people. You want to go look at the Luminates? Okay, take this girl who's sitting at the table right next to us. You guys go together, hold hands the whole time.
And how long is Havina telling stories for it to actually be accurate that Kelly goes, she was just looking at the Luminite? You mean like 2 hours ago she was looking at the Luminites? Hey. It was a couple. There's a couple. Here's one additional nitpicky. Jessica can't get over this thing part. Havina tells Topa that the coordinates or the frequency and the contact. Mm-hmm. At the same moment that Havina says, I want your help.
In the same conversation.
In the same exact conversation. Mm-hmm. At no point, if the Moclan males had heard this conversation, would they have not heard the same exact thing? Mm-hmm. So why did they steal Topa? Did they go, this is what happened, goes, hey, I want to give you these things. Sir, they're going to give her the coordinates. And then they go back to listen and, it's too late. Let's just take her.
Well, they might have had the whole conversation like this where she was like, I will give you the contact on Moclus as well as the quantum frequency to contact them that only you will know. And then she might have gone, pss, 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 pss,
right.
Scooby-Doo style.
Totally. Or Morse coded on her hand or something.
Yeah.
Still. A lot of this must have been what it was. Where were they?
Yeah. I don't I almost always see a jump scare coming. And in this episode, I saw the jump scare coming. I saw it when the blue luminite landed. And then I saw it when I heard the stick break. And then I saw it when she kind of bowed down behind the leaves. But when we actually got the jump scare, I jumped. I don't know if it got everybody else. It got me, and it got me twice.
Mike, I was watching on the plane.
Okay.
And it was so loud that it hurt me. Not my ears, just my whole body went, ah! And I knew it. I saw it coming a mile away, and it really effed with me for sure.
But that and then the shot of the birds, the sanctuary planet birds. I don't know that the planet has a name, or that we are privy to the species of birds. But them flying past the moon was definitely a nice touch.
Yeah. There was, to your credit, we can talk about the score all day long, but Joel McNeely did such a great job the entire episode transitioning from fairy tale beautiful sequences to just one dissonant note playing over the major chord in order to denote the transition of now there's a threat. And the theme for the episode was gorgeous. It was a really, really well done episode.
It really is. And you know what else is gorgeous today? Your vocabulary. You are definitely winning the vocabulary war.
I looked at the encyclopedia before we got in today.
Yeah,
so.
not that it's competition, but I'm benefiting from your vocab today. So good for you.
My brain must be working. So.
Yeah. So when Havina was trying to lie, were you convinced? You were like, oh man, she's a good liar, boy.
No, actually, this is why I was like, well, what did Havina do? Like, I know what Havina did, but it was like, was it really? They could have stolen Havina. I don't know that if I was Havina, I would have known that that's exactly what happened. So I don't know that she was 100% doing the wrong thing. But yeah, she was a horrible liar. Great actress, horrible liar.
That's what I was going to say, which makes her a good actress, because if she's acting like she's lying,
a bad liar,
then that's kind of like a double negative or something in some way in my mind. I don't know anything about your craft.
Hey, listen, when you realize, what I learned when it came to acting, that you actually do have to indicate some of what you're feeling. I used to think like, no, I'll make different choices. And then I would make different choices and no one knew what I was feeling. But I was like, that's different.
That's different.
You do have to let the audience in on what is happening. You just do.
Right.
And that's half the game. And she's very good at that.
So a little, and again, we're here for messages, morals, and meanings. We'll get to those in a little bit.
Sure, we will.
But the fact that the launch thrusters weren't operative, so they had to take off using the engine on the back of the thing that shoots this thing forward, makes a certain amount of sense. I guess we're going to use the main engines and kind of propel ourselves forward, try to get some lift and get away from the ground that way. But then they get to the Black Ops site, and they just touch down like a butterfly landed on a rose petal, with those thrusters coming out the bottom of the ship. And I'm like, they could have used those. Are those landing thrusters? Because I don't know, because the launch thrusters were offline. So maybe they could have reconfigured the landing thrusters to get them up in the air a little bit.
Or maybe it was working for a second, because they said that it could take a second to get back online, to be fair.
Yeah, and like I said, I never went to a systems class on the new shuttle, so I don't know.
How could we know? But you bring up a good point. How the heck did that shuttle literally get beamed right in front of the Black Ops site?
I don't know. It's funny because, they landed so far from it.
So, at least 2,000 meters.
Yeah, which is like a mile, basically, a little more than a mile. And they had to, go across a crevasse and do some other things. And I don't know. I mean, maybe they just kind of engaged Tesla mode, and they were able, because I can see landing far away and sneaking up, right? Sneaking up, getting dressed in your nighttime, army clothes.
Skis.
And, and working your way, through the avoiding line of sight and stuff like that. But then when you get out of there, it's time to go. So maybe they just kind of like punched in, whatever. Come to me, meet me here on there, whatever it's called on the Tesla app.
Again, we don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what 25th century technology looks like.
We don't know.
All I know is that, thank goodness, they didn't have to run nearly as far.
Maybe they folded space like in Dune. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
didn't do that.
it's awesome. But speaking about flying these shuttles, man, why don't, like, whenever I see people flying Star Trek ships in like the Berman era and and newer, and the Orville, which is I think a lot of that is still Mike and Denise Okuda, their design, which the touchscreen stuff. Maybe Doug Drexler, maybe somebody else. I don't even know. I don't know, but it's all this touchscreen stuff, and sometimes you got to reach for something like really far away, instead of like right in front of you. Why not just a stick and stick in a throttle, stick in a thrust lever, something like that.
Like a manual setting, like an OSHIT bar.
Yeah, or like that, or like when it comes down to it, like in Star Trek, the much maligned Star Trek Insurrection, which I love, directed by Jonathan Frakes, who we hope to have on the show at some point. When he really had to, steer the ship, he engaged the manual control column, and the stick comes out of the floor of the ship, and then he's got it right there, and you can kind of drive the thing around much more intuitively than just sliding your hand along a touch screen. Which anywhere you touch as you're sliding your hand around is probably gonna. We all operate touchscreens. We know how that works.
I love this idea. So and it's as simple as that, I think.
Yeah. And I think this time we're gonna have to keep our promise to make this Victor Garber Appreciation Week.
I'm not against making it Mark Jackson Appreciation Week, but now it's time to make it the Victor Garber. He's just killing it.
He is.
Killing it.
He's so good. And he's such a good role model, I think, for leadership, because he considers, he listens, he considers the options, but he's not afraid to say to somebody, hey, Captain, watch your tone, which at some point you just kind of have to do that.
Also, like, to literally say this is a disappointing thing. Like, he does not mince words, but he does know how to emotionally appeal. And he just does such a great job with it. And
he also knows how to, as a character, kind of knows the diplomatic angles to get things done. And as an actor, he can convince you that that's the right way to go. Or at least he convinced me.
There's so much to talk about. I think we should really luxuriate, to use that word again, on Dolly, and then transition if you're okay with that.
I think you are 100% right. So, so we hit 45 minutes into the episode, right? Which was the halfway mark, which is the exact timing for the conversation, right? The Orville conversation about what the issues are and what both sides of the story.
As you've coined that. It's so true.
It is. I mean, it is built into the show. It cannot be by accident. It is got to be in the writer's guide at this point. And we see Havina alone in a room, then the door opens. Psh, and I'm like, okay, time for the conversation.
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
Talakiali. Not sure it's going to be with her. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, come to the simulator. And I'm like, oh, simulator. That's interesting. And then we see the log cabin. Was that when the jig was up for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing moment for me. Like, it was one of the most satisfying TV moments I've had ever. And that's why spoiling is so important to not be done. Because if you go... I had the unfortunate... I was a big Twitter user, bigger than I even am now, when episode... what was it? 7 came out for Star Wars, and
right.
I was looking at Twitter right before I was going to go see the new episode the next day, and I saw Kylo Ren kills his dad,
right.
Han Solo, and the picture of it, and so someone totally robbed that experience from me, and you could make the argument criminal. It was my fault, but not knowing, and then when we walked into this room with her, I was like, holy crap. I have chills just even thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to say any more about this, but mad props for the person we spoke to a couple of weeks ago that had every opportunity to spoil it and did not. Yep.
I'm really glad they didn't. And also, too, go check out Tom Cosentino's Twitter or Instagram feed. He goes into great detail how they made this work at the height of COVID. It's very impressive. Dolly was in Nashville. They had to fly Rena Owen to Nashville. They split the set in half. They talked about it more at the panel, too. But holy moly, is Dolly just not a charming... amazing little actress. She is just so charming, and she was so good.
I know, she is so good, and she was like, "I'm not real. I'm not even sure I'm all there."
I'm not there.
But it was, the conversation about, the toes and sewing them back on, and I was right there with Havina. I was like, I failed to grasp the meaning of this parable. Like, she couldn't have said that any better. She was like, hey, sometimes you just got to do the right thing in the moment, even if, or you just got to act in the moment, even if you're not exactly sure what to do. And then the line that you have to, and again, this is probably, we'll talk more about this later. You've got to do the right thing in the here and now, and then the future will take care of itself. And just such a powerful but simple message that really is at the heart of why I love the show as much as I do.
Yeah, I can easily say that was a validating piece of philosophy that, hey, Dolly doesn't need to tell me anymore, and I'll listen to her. But obviously, Bormanis and whoever else wrote this, Brennan, they know what they're doing. They know about good living. So it was a gorgeous, one of the best cameos of all time, an amazing payoff,
and such a wonderful use of the song "Try." And we'll jump back in on that a little bit later. But just a couple of things, man. I was glad to see Gordon keep his promise to look after Topa and say, hey, I want to go down there too. And I could definitely, feel his frustration being in on a meeting where folks at the highest level are kind of talking, corporate speak, and you just want to stand up and kind of put your career in jeopardy and say, this is bullcrap. Like, we have to do the right thing there. Should not have been in the room.
He shouldn't have been in the room, but it was awesome. And it was really cool to see Ed go, no, don't do it. No,
don't
stop. But it was great. Someone needed to say it. If you got I would have done the same thing. I would like to think I would do the same thing. It was an awesome moment.
If he's going to be there, I think he's got to say something.
Right.
Man, and I do love after Peter Macon came in with Topa. Imani Pullum, and pleaded their case, and Peter Macon, who's just so brilliant in that scene, he's got to be recognized for that when he called out the Mocklins on there for being liars and butchers and members of the union for doing that. But did you see the first two ambassadors to jump up?
Ooh, remind me.
It was the Tequili, the ones that John Lamar was getting to know in a friendly way. Way back in
Spike Lady?
Yeah, Spike Lady. So those two jumped up so fast, man. I thought they were going to get some Lamal sticks. I thought they were maybe giving those away in the hallway.
They were gonna pop the plump people next to them.
That would not be a match. So, what do you say we pour some 90 proof coffee and move on to the next phase?
I need it.
So I've come to the part of the show where we explore the big ideas in the episode Midnight Blue and discuss the meanings, morals, and messages to see if they align with the Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy.
Do you align with the Star Trek Roddenberry philosophy?
Man, I wish everything aligned as well as this one did. And I'm just saying everything. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not in any non-comparative way. And since we were just talking about Dolly, I just a little snippet of the lyrics that were in that song, which is called Try at Dolly Parton. You can Google it yourself. Try to be the first one at the mountain, the highest flying dreamer in the sky, and try your best to be an inspiration to brothers that are still afraid and shy, and try to make the most of every moment. Because if you never try, you never win. So try each day and try a little harder. And if you fail, get up and try again. Wow. I mean, that song brought me to tears. And that transition from acoustic to orchestral as Havina went in and talked to Ed, and then the ship came out of the nebula and went to quantum. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. And I had not heard the song before.
Nor have I.
But it kept surprising me, just musically, too, because it was like, how could it get... Dolly is such a great writer. I think she wrote Jolene and I'll Always Love You in the same day.
Right. Wow.
Something like that. And so it's not surprising that this is a great song, but just the notes keep getting more epic and more inspirational. And it's that's really what music does, is just get the point across with even more emphasis. I think, I don't know if this is applicable, but music is just, love is just friendship set to music, kind of.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the quote is from, but music is if you have the pleasure of the what's the word I'm looking for? If you have the privilege of having the ability to hear in this life, you get a whole, wide experience in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolly is someone who's just so good at getting that across.
Yeah. And just, again, I don't know if this was part of the plan back when Sanctuary was written, but man, oh man, what a payoff for being a fan of the show. Could not. And for those of you who follow Mission Log, the Orville on Twitter, Jessica was responsible for the emoji-only, no spoiler recap of the episode.
Liked by only one person, so I don't know.
Apparently that was me.
Yeah.
Okay,
not a single person saw it, but that's okay.
I thought it was brilliant.
I thought so too. You can go back and retroactively like it. I will not tell you.
Okay,
what
we'll pin
was.
it. We're gonna pin that one to the.
No, yeah, you like it. You better like it.
It'll be the gate. You have to like this in order to see the rest of the rest of our Twitter feed.
Exactly.
Havina mentioned to Topa right away, I hope the real me won't disappoint you, which is, the old, adage of you never want to meet your heroes, reminded me of The Fault in Our Stars.
Sure.
That film. And, so that was a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing of what was to come. Although, Topa did say, I want to know everything about your revolution. Well, Topa.
Sit right down. Take a look right there. So how became the Prince of Bel-Air? I think Ed was exactly right to chastise Havina.
What the hell were you thinking?
Yeah. It was really funny how he was holding on to something, though, and then put it down. It was just really interesting blocking. Like, I'm going to hold a ball and look really, casual, and then I'm going to put down this ball, and I'm going to change my tune a little bit.
Yeah,
funny.
And I like the way he framed it. As a captain, it's a rare day when something unexpected occurs and I don't have a clue as to the reason. And I loved that he appealed to her sense of responsibility, being responsible for her people as a leader. And again, she did the I'm lying, but I'm going to show you that I'm a really bad liar acting trick that she does so well.
So well. Well, and it's such a brilliant
And she did, and I take it back, because she did. I think she tried that, and then she fessed up to it right away.
She fessed up to it right away once he said, I don't know what this is. We saw her lie twice, I think.
Right.
Or, go, I couldn't understand, whatever.
Maybe she went back to my writing nook.
Exactly. Well, no, she knew, she did not know that she was stolen.
Yeah,
but she didn't, she knew that there was kind of a reason once they extrapolated as much. But I love that we get to see a character that we really admire and respect be imperfect.
Yes. And it's those imperfect choices, I don't know how much into Deep Space Nine you are. I know you're original series and Next Gen.
Yeah, eventually.
But there's a famous episode of Deep Space Nine called In the Pale Moonlight, where Captain Sisko at that point makes a choice to basically abandon his principles in order to bring the Romulans into the Dominion War as an ally of the Federation. And it's kind of framed as it's kind of framed as a wartime necessity thing, which is, I think, the reality that Havina thought she found herself in. That we need to save these many, 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 infant Moclan females and get this underground route open to them. And yes, I'm going to be putting this one person in harm's way, but it's a needs of the many versus the needs of the few kind of thing that I definitely want to talk about more later. And that's where she was. And I love that Ed just shot that down. He was like, what the hell were you thinking? This is a child that you're putting in harm's way. Of course she's going to listen to you. And also, just kind of from a side note, being a Star Trek fan and looking at how Next Gen was framed initially, which is where, Captain Picard would be the kind of the administrator, the guy that hangs back, and Riker's the action star, and he's the one that would go on the away missions and things like that. And Patrick Stewart wrote a letter at one point to the production team saying, hey, the captain needs more of a role. I need to be doing more stuff, going on away missions, being more of an action hero. Now here's Seth that has full reign of the show. Like, I'm sure whatever he wants, he would get. If he wants to be front and center of every episode, like Patrick Stewart was towards the end of Next Gen and into the movies where it became the Picard and Data show, I'm sure he could do that. Or the way, Captain Kirk was in TOS and the movies, say, starting with The Wrath of Khan and beyond, that could definitely be the case, but he hasn't. He's put sort of everybody else first, and the episodes have not really had him front and center. What I will say is that some of the best moments of New Horizons have come from Ed Mercer. His speech to Charlie Burke that said, show the galaxy that humans are different, that we value life even when our enemies don't. His telling of the tale of Ozymandias on Krill to the newly elected Chancellor, Supreme Chancellor, was a fantastic moment. And right up there with that, I respect your struggle in this episode. I really do. But don't advertise tactical opportunism as pious morality, because that's where you lose me. I mean, just such powerful moments. And it's not like Star Trek, the original series, where every episode ends in a Kirk speech, virtually every episode. But we do have some Mercer speeches, and they are so powerful when they're used judiciously.
It's a great improv philosophy when, if you can support your cast and your scene partner to look good, it's going to in turn make you look good. So it's not surprising that he's leaving this huge mark as the leader by letting other people shine. And it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, somebody with a more fragile ego, I think, would insist that they be front and center the whole time.
You're totally right. Someone with more of an ego would ask for more screen time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice to see that team effort, right? Because that's what leadership is all about, is building a team and putting the right people in the right places. Unless you're Charlie Burke. But, she's got a long way to go. I mean, she's an ensign.
She's an ensign. Shut up.
She's learning from the best. It's going to be a long time.
But, Captain, if we go down there, we'll be something.
Yeah, I know.
Shut up. Shut up, Wesley.
Noted. So, Bortus went to town on the Inquisitor. Right, wrong, justified?
I don't think it could have been helped. I think
I think it was. If he didn't, that same thing would have happened to somebody else down the road.
I mean, I don't think it's going to stop it from happening to anybody else either. Well, they're just going to get a different Inquisitor.
They'll get a different Inquisitor, possibly, probably. But it's not going to be this guy. No, because I think there's probably, you put that Krill pain stick in somebody's eye like that, yes, it's going to blind them in their one remaining eye, which sucks. But the other thing it's probably going to do is, quickest path to neurological damage, like they were warned about from the level of pain. So that was, again, if anybody's going to write that scene, it's going to be the dynamic duo of Brandon Braga and Andre Bormanis, because they do bring us the scary episodes.
They really do. And, I don't know that it's easy to say that it's morally right or wrong, but we did see it telegraphed as Bortus was literally going to kick the guy who called Topa a disgusting creature on the island, planet, etc. You see him getting ready to fight.
Yes.
I think Bortus has got to go to therapy, and I think Topa's got to go to therapy.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would never hurt. I think Bortus's instinct to protect his daughter is admirable, but you're right. I guess, fighting can't, resolve all your problems.
It's clear that there's a lot of trauma. There's so much trauma.
There is. There is.
Wild.
You're right. Therapy is good. So, yeah, I think if you're feeling the need to take somebody, throw them up against throw them in the air against the wall, and then beat them, and then take a pain stick and stick it in their eye, and before you succumb to those feelings, maybe think about therapy. It's a
lot different from
time permitting, of course.
Correct. It's a lot different from the question that we asked at the first season when Claire in Into the Fold kills her captor. Because she had time to think about it, and Bortus had time to think about it. Should I do this? And I think if you remember, as a female especially, you don't have time to go, maybe this guy's not going to hunt me down. You got to shoot and kill that person. I don't feel bad that she did that.
I remember that conversation very well.
Yeah, and I don't feel badly that Bortus did this, but it was crazy. It was overwhelmingly motivated by emotion.
Yes.
And also, I think Kelly would have done the same thing, but she had a little bit more of a level head in the situation. And already Topa had seen enough and been through enough. I think Kelly, without it being said, didn't want Topa to see her father murder somebody.
So, and that's, kind of the whole, it takes a village and, different perspectives and stuff like that. When my wife and I have had conversations about, what the kids should see and what they shouldn't see, there's part of her that says, I don't want her to see this.
Right.
And there's part of me that says, I want them to see how much I care.
I think we got it, Dad, when you put the pain stick in the guy's eye.
Yes, my dad cares.
My dad really loves me.
And he also, Bortus, in his discussions with Kelly on how hard it's been since Clyden has left, for different reasons, I felt like there was a moment after Clyden returned when Bortus was very kind of hesitant to let Clyden go speak to Topa, but he agreed admirably. And then he listened to the conversation, and Clyden won me over when he said, it is not okay. After Topa said, it's okay. And he said, it is not okay. I allowed a lifetime of prejudice to cloud my judgment. That must change. I must change. And then you saw this look of relief on Bortus' face and an exhale. And I thought that was beautifully done. Because if you've got a partner in your life and that relationship is strained, everything is tense. Everything is tense. And then when things kind of get better and you're back with that person, all of a sudden, for me anyway, that weight of the world is off your shoulders. Yeah,
I'm almost surprised that it seems like they're back together. I don't think we would have seen Bortus turn around until that moment. If I think Bortus was like, yeah, I'm not going to be back with this guy until Clyden said that. And we all needed to hear Clyden say that.
I was expecting Clyden's return ever since he left at the end of A Tale of Two Topas. And I thought that it would come with a realization that he's been, less than cool. But I was not thinking it was going to happen at the end of this episode. So that was another thing that surprised me. That then just sort of added a few more tears into the medley of what was Midnight Blue.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually didn't know when we would see Clyden again.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I wanted to, but you're totally right. When he walked in, it's like, yeah, that's what you do. It's really an allegory for parents that are scared for their child and don't know how to deal with something that they don't understand and take it out on the child. And then it shouldn't have to take what it took for Clyden to recognize his error. And some people don't ever get an opportunity to apologize to their son or child or female or trans child or gay child, because this is actually a very dangerous world for them.
Right.
So they don't get the benefit of being able to love them in real time. So at the very least, though, what a really great handbook for how to admit you were wrong and just be totally full of humility.
Yeah, and the first, I mean, as far as parenting goes, I think the first step is show up. And the second step is try. Try real hard. And if you can do those
try
things,
a little harder.
Wow, I love the way you tied that in. I just that was awesome. So you want to talk messages, morals, meanings?
I was just
like
going to ask you, what did you come up with the show that does anything align with the Roddenberry Star Trek philosophy?
Well, it's definitely I think that in many ways it aligns so well, and I wish other shows did it as well, because Star Trek, the original series, is watching the decision making made by Kirk, McCoy, and Spock, how they looked at both sides, looked at the ethical as well as the logical and the emotional sides of things, and then making the best decision they could. Yeah, making the best decision they could, kind of for the good of as many people as possible that were affected. Has always had such an impact on me, and I see that in this show. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, right? Uhura's helping the crew steal the Enterprise, and she had Mr. Adventure eaten out of the palm of her hand, if you remember that, and said, "Be careful what you wish for, you may get it," because he was wishing for some adventure, something new. Maybe something boring like this is okay for you, and your career's winding down, but not me. So that reminded me of that a little bit. But more importantly, I wanted to talk a lot probably about the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, which is what Star Trek fans say all the time. And that is true, but it is the yin and the yang too. The needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. And I think it all depends on who or whom is sacrificing themselves. When Spock sacrificed himself to save the ship at the end of Star Trek II, beautiful moment, absolutely gorgeous moment. And that was justified by saying the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Perfectly beautiful moment. I get it. Havina saying, "I'm willing to sacrifice Topa because of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few," is uncool. Completely uncool, because it was not up to Havina to sacrifice Topa. It's up to Topa to sacrifice herself, themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. And when I see...
That's a good point.
And when I hear, like, at the end of Star Trek 3, when Spock said, "You told me you came back for me, why would you do that?" Kirk looked right at him and said, "Because the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many." It's the other side of that coin. That's nobody getting left behind. That's soldiers, in battle, not leaving a fallen comrade behind. That's firefighters running into a burning building to save one person. It's Saving Private Ryan. It's the whole town, Jessica, the whole town on Christmas Eve coming out to make sure that George Bailey doesn't go to jail. Going back to our wonderful life viewing that we had together.
That was a fun day.
It was. It's the Enterprise going back to save Baylock in the Corbinite maneuver, which was the first production order episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Oh.
The whole ship goes back to save somebody who's ostensibly threatening them, because the words they say is that they're going to seek out new life and new civilizations. And they have to follow through on that. And it's the crew of the Orville, captained by one Alara Katan, disobeying orders by Admiral Tucker, who should have just been called Admiral Nope, to save Ed and Kelly from the Calavan Zoo. It's heroic. It's epic. That's
we haven't seen him since.
We have not, sadly. I should look up to see if maybe there's a reason we haven't seen him, which I don't know. But no, we have not had an Admiral Tucker sighting in quite some time. But that's heroic. Those are the kind of things when everybody bands together to save an individual. And I think that gets overlooked so often by, just got to write this person off because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one crowd. So that's my message, moral, and meaning in this episode.
I think that's exactly right. It's a different. I think you summarized it perfectly. It's up to the one to make the choice for what the one is going to do. It was Spock's choice to go into that room. It should have been Topa's choice, and it wasn't.
Right, and mostly because
she would have gone. She probably would have, but
right. And it's one of those things. When I saw the delegates stand up in the council, led by the Decalians that we joked about before, the spiky folk, and everybody else doing that, knowing that this was going to put this was going to be a huge shared sacrifice for everybody in the Union, because losing an ally that makes all the weapons, you still got the Kaelon threat out there. Like, that was a huge shared sacrifice that they were all willing to take to save this one person. And I love that. That, to me, is the heart of the show. And right now, I'm just going to say there's one sci-fi show on TV that I know of, okay? And maybe only one other show, period, like Ted Lasso, that consistently hammers home the message that if you do the right thing in the here and now, and I'm not going to try to, copy Dolly's, folksy twang. But if you do the right thing in the here and now, the future has a way of taking care of itself. And the sci-fi show that beats that drum every single week is The Orville.
And they do such a good job of it. I think that's about it, Mike. Mission Log The Orville is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production by the unstoppable Earl Green. Our website and your opportunity to comment and connect with us is podcast.roddenberry.com.
If you'd like to be a part of the conversation on the Mission Log Discord, become a Mission Log patron at patreon.com/Mission Log. Join us Wednesday evening live on the Mission Log Discord right after this episode premieres. So right now, if you're watching the premiere, to discuss Midnight Blue. Next week on Mission Log The Orville, we discuss Dominoes.
Return of the Pterodon.
And we get to see the Pterodon.
It's exciting. I'll see you then,
so
Mike.
Exciting.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.